Mayday is an emergency procedure word used internationally as a distress signal in voice procedure radio communications. It is used to signal a life-threatening emergency primarily by mariners and aviators, but in some countries local organizations such as police forces, firefighters, and transportation organizations also use the term. The call is always given 3 times in a row to prevent mistaking it for some similar-sounding phrase under noisy conditions, and to distinguish an actual Mayday call from a message about a Mayday call. Mayday calls, making a false distress call in the United States is a federal crime carrying sanctions of up to 6 years imprisonment and/or a fine of up to $250,000, and restitution to the Coast Guard. If a Mayday call cannot be sent because a radio is not available, a variety of other distress signals and calls for help can be used. A Mayday can be sent on behalf of one vessel by another, using a convention called a Mayday relay. Civilian aircraft making a Mayday call on United States airspace are encouraged to use the following format: Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Aircraft call sign and type. Nature of emergency. Weather. Pilot's intentions and/or requests. Present position and heading, or if lost then last known position and heading and time when aircraft was at that position. Altitude or flight level. Fuel remaining in minutes. Number of souls on board. Any other useful information. History. The Mayday procedure word originated in 1923 by Frederick Stanley Mockford. A senior radio officer at Croydon Airport in London, Mockford was asked to think of a word that would indicate distress and would easily be understood by all pilots and ground staff in an emergency. Since much of the traffic at the time was between Croydon and Le Bourget Airport in Paris, he proposed the word Mayday from the French unregistered trademark ADA. Before the voice call Mayday, SOS was the Morse code equivalent of the Mayday call. In 1927, the International Radio Telegraph Convention of Washington adopted the voice call Mayday in place of the SOS Morse code call. The Mayday was defined as corresponding to the French pronunciation of the expression au émettre a euro. Other urgent calls. Mayday is one of a number of words used internationally as radio code words to signal important information. Senders of urgency calls are entitled to interrupt messages of lower priority. As with Mayday, the use of these terms without proper cause could render the user liable to civil and/or criminal charges. Each of these urgency calls is usually spoken 3 times. For example, pan pan, pan pan, pan pan. Mayday relay. A Mayday relay call is made by one vessel on behalf of a different vessel which is in distress. If a vessel makes a Mayday call and it is not acknowledged by the Coast Guard after a single repetition and a 2-minute wait, then a vessel receiving the Mayday call should attempt to contact the Coast Guard on behalf of the Mayday vessel by broadcasting a Mayday relay. A Mayday relay call should use the call sign of the transmitting vessel but give the name and position of the Mayday vessel. Mayday relay calls can be used to summon help for a vessel which is either too far offshore to contact the Coast Guard directly or without radio capabilities. In aviation, any air traffic controller or pilot who knows of an emergency may relay the Mayday. This happens a lot in mountainous areas. With a mountain in between, a Mayday call may not be received by air traffic control. An aircraft flying above the mountain may have line-of-sight radio contact with both the aircraft and ATC. A Mayday relay in aviation could sound like, Mayday, 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 Amsterdam Center, KLM 123 received Mayday from KLM 456, I say again KLM 456 Boeing 737 engine failure, forced landing 10 miles east of Rotterdam 4,000 feet descending heading 180. ATC will probably reply with, KLM 123, Amsterdam Center, Roger, your relayed Mayday from KLM 456. This message could be followed by, all stations, Amsterdam Center, stop transmitting, Mayday situation in progress, when the problem has been dealt with, all stations, Amsterdam Center, distress traffic ended, pan pan. Pan pan indicates an urgent situation of a lower order than a grave and imminent threat requiring immediate assistance, such as a mechanical breakdown or a medical problem. The suffix medico used to be added by vessels in UK waters to indicate a medical problem, or by aircraft declaring a non-life-threatening medical emergency of a passenger in flight, or those operating as protected medical transport in accordance with the Geneva Conventions. Pan medico is no longer in official use. Declaring emergency. Sometimes the phrase declaring emergency is used in aviation. This is the same as calling Mayday. For example, Swissair Flight 111 radioed Swissair 111 Heavy as declaring emergency on discovering their situation. However, ICAO recommends the use of the standard pan, and Mayday calls instead of declaring an emergency. Cases of pilots using phrases other than pan, and Mayday have caused confusion and errors in aircraft handling. Securite. Securite indicates a message about safety, such as a hazard to navigation or weather information. Silence. The following calls may be made only by the vessel in distress or the responding authority. Silence Mayday or silence distress means that the channel may only be used by the vessel in distress and the Coast Guard. The channel may not be used for normal working traffic until silence fine is broadcast. Silence Mayday may only be sent from the vessel in distress. Silence distress may only be sent from a station which is not participating on the emergency traffic. The expression stop transmitting Euro distress and stop transmitting Euro Mayday are the aeronautical equivalents of silence Mayday. Silence fine means that the emergency situation has been concluded and the channel may now be used normally. The word prudence can also be used to allow restricted working to resume on that channel. Distress traffic ended is the aeronautical equivalent of silence fine. See also, aircraft emergency frequency, call for help, CQD, distress signal, French phrases used by English speakers, global maritime distress safety system, pan, Securite, SOS, vessel emergency codes, references. External links, handling distress and help calls, ACP 135, F, communications instructions, distress and rescue procedures, audio recording of Mayday call made from the Sunshine Skyway Bridge collapse, Tampa Bay, Florida, May 1980, boating safety, a VHF primer, the use and misuse of the VHF. Thompson fly passenger aircraft calling Mayday after bird strike, 9815 Lima loses control of aircraft, stuck in bad weather. Transport Canada, radio distress procedures card TP 9878.